What comes to mind when you hear the words classic Christmas movie? Maybe you think of the wholesome and endearing A Christmas Story, or maybe it's Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or just maybe you think of the sweaty, explosion-fueled, and highly debated holiday cheer of Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
But the chances are that when you're discussing Christmas classics with your friends and family, it's beyond likely that someone mentions the ever-beloved and irreplaceable Home Alone, a film that has stood the test of time for generations and brought laughs, tears, and pain to each and every one of us, year after year after year.
What? What? What happened?
Get that little...
Not only has Home Alone made its way into the households of millions of families, but it has also spawned a subsequent franchise that has covered everything from direct sequels, to reboots, to TV movies, to what can only be seen as a horrendous spin-off set in the same universe. A franchise that has seen its highs and lows, but nonetheless has fed the Hollywood machine with a steady diet of mainstream fandom and cold, hard cash. But the thing that really makes this franchise interesting is the popular opinion among audiences that the film Home Alone, 1990, is iconic, but the franchise in its entirety is not. But does that mean that the films following the original were bad? Well, not all of them.
Then it must be really bad.
This is it, don't get scared now, because it is time for me to tell you just what the f you need to know about the Home Alone franchise. Of course, the best and only way to get the full picture is to take it from the top, so let's go. Home Alone was written by legendary coming-of-age storyteller John Hughes, who you may know as the talented filmmaker behind 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Pretty in Pink, and many more. Hughes states that he came up with the idea while he was gearing up for a vacation with his family and thought about what might happen if his 10-year-old son had been left behind and forced to hold down the fort.
Guys, I'm eating junk and watching rubbish. You better come out and stop me.
After meeting with other directors, Hughes ultimately tapped Chris Columbus to direct. Columbus was originally set to direct a different holiday feature that year with Christmas Vacation, but after that fell through, he landed this iconic film. After working with Macaulay Culkin on Uncle Buck, the character of Kevin was planned for Culkin from the beginning stages of casting. However, Hughes did want to make sure he met with the hundreds of candidates as his directorial responsibility. Ultimately, it was all just a formality as Culkin was cast to play little Kevin, and the rest, as they say, is history. And if you're interested in learning even more of the juicy details behind this film, I encourage you to watch our JoBlo original video, Home Alone Revisited, here on the JoBlo Movie Network. And while you're at it, please leave a like on this video and of course subscribe for the best in movie content.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Now, there are 6 movies in the Home Alone franchise, but the plot of all 6 of the films are almost identical. So rather than discuss the individual story beats of each film, we're gonna cover the basic premises and just point out some differences. And believe me guys, after watching all 6 of these, I'm doing you a favor. Here we go.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Home Alone is the story of Kevin McAllister, a 10-year-old suburban kid whose family is scrambling throughout their house the night before their family vacation. It's almost Christmas, which means that families are more stressed out than ever, and homes are less occupied than ever. This plays well for Harry and Marv, aka the Wet Bandits, played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, a pair of small-time Chicago burglars who have their sights set on the lush upper-middle-class McAllister residence. But when Kevin's family heads on their trip in a hurry, Kevin is left behind to fend for himself until his family can return for him. Of course, Kevin's misadventures include needing to feed himself, dress himself, and oh yeah, defend his family home from the Wet Bandits by way of crafty engineering, sinister booby traps, and good old-fashioned arachnophobia.
Marv, what are you doing? Marv.
Kevin is painted as the outcast of his family, with his older brother Buzz, played by Devin Rattray, embodying everything that the stereotypical 1990s older brother should bring to the role. Buzz is single-handedly responsible for the term
Trout sniffer
being so offensive to me and my brothers.
You're sick, you know that? You're really sick.
Kevin's family are mostly portrayed as stressed out and frantic, which gives you a surprisingly accurate insight into what it feels like being a young person with no responsibilities in a house full of older, more high-strung adults. And we simply cannot talk about Home Alone without talking about Kevin's legendary Uncle Frank and Cousin Fuller, who, if nothing else, entertain us with their hilarious takes on the awkward, distant family dynamic of suburban families.
It's horrible. Horrible. Just horrible.
The movie's performances have proven to be timeless, as the comedy delivered by Pesci and Stern brings charm and endless hilarity to the holiday classic, and Culkin's performance as Kevin is equal parts adorable, hysterical, and just plain maniacal.
Did I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
As well, the film includes a wholesome and charming cameo from John Candy, who was paid under $500 for his participation in the film. But Candy states he wanted to do it as a favor to the filmmakers. We at JoBlo love you, John Candy. Rest in peace.
I had a few hits a few years ago. That's why I, just polka, 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 polka.
And if you're one of those conspiracy theorists out there, you may have also seen or heard about the supposed cameo of the bearded Elvis Presley in the same scene. See? There he is. He's right there. That's the face of the king. Or maybe it's definitely 100% not him. I don't know. What do you think? Comment down below. Home Alone was an instant success, and the film has only become more iconic as the years have gone on. And yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, then do yourself a favor and visit Disney Plus to watch it in HD, like right after this video. Of course, every kid can connect with the sheer awesomeness that is Kevin McAllister's booby trap setup. And I'm not kidding, these traps still make me want to scavenge my basement for tools to make a zipline.
Down here, you big horse's ass! Come and get me before I call the police!
And one of the many things to come from the success of this movie was the ever-popular Home Alone video game. That's right, you could play as Kevin McAllister and defend your home from the wet bandits. Was I the only person who was terrified by this woman? Home Alone 2 Lost in New York City was the 1992 follow-up to Home Alone, which once again separates Kevin from his family and reunites him with Harry and Marv as the duo try to rob one of the largest toy stores in town and steal all of the proceeds from the store's holiday charity. Once again, Kevin must stop the robbers and devise an ingenious plan to protect himself and, this time, his aunt's home in New York City. This film is wonderful and iconic all on its own, with some of the most quotable and recognizable moments in all of pop culture.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
While being mostly formulaic, the film is not without its merits. A prime example of what this sequel delivers would be the addition of a secondary antagonist, Hector the hotel concierge, played by one of my all-time favorite character actors, Tim Curry.
I love you.
Hector manages the five-star hotel that Kevin is staying in by using his father's credit card. He believes Kevin may be up to something and is determined to uncover what it is, while Harry and Marv, who are now calling themselves
The Sticky Bandits,
are definitely the main villains here, but since Kevin isn't in the safety or familiarity of his own home, Hector adds a humorous threat to Kevin's lavish penthouse lifestyle. We also have to give a shout out to the rigs and traps that Kevin sets up in this movie. Between the charm of Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci and the brutality of Kevin's traps, I almost feel bad for these two.
I cross my heart and hope to die.
Okay.
And after this movie, there was another Home Alone video game, where you could again play as Kevin McAllister and defend yourself from the bandits.
You owe it to yourself to play those games. I hear they're awesome.
No, they're not.
Okay, truth be told, I really like this movie. Home Alone 3 was released in 1997 and served as a standalone story following the Pruitt family. The movie would feature none of the original cast or characters from the story, however, the Home Alone formula is still ever present in this film. The film follows Alex, an adorable 7-year-old kid who is stuck at home during Christmas time with the dreaded chickenpox. Alex's family includes a busy but loving mom played by Haviland Morris and an equally busy but equally loving father played by Kevin Kilner. When Alex's parents are stuck working for the holidays, Alex is left home sick during a blizzard while 4 hilarious and memorable thieves search for a dangerous microchip which has been hidden inside of Alex's toy car.
Stolen from a Defense Department contractor by a group of international criminals working for a North Korean terrorist organization.
Now, story-wise, these movies all have similar beats and tropes, which we will absolutely get into. But at the end of the day, a Home Alone movie needs to be all about the clever contraptions and hilarious slapstick comedy. And in those two areas, we really need to recognize this movie.
You smacked my winky.
The thieves in this movie are downright hilarious, and yes, I realize how hot of a take that is. Peter and Alice are the leaders of the crew. They both seem to have the seriousness about them which rivals any Bond villain, and that is what makes these characters fun. They play it so straight and so serious that they really don't fit into this witty and comical story. And then we have the true stars of this movie, Burton Jernigan and Earl Unger. Now these two are, for all intents and purposes, the Harry and Marv of the story. They both have over-the-top reactions to the chaos that they're caught in, and they each do have different moments in the film that I still laugh at to this day.
Where? I said I'm heading to work.
Now, do I consider this film a classic? No, not really. But do I think it's worth 2 hours of my time every Christmas? Definitely. The traps in this movie are modern and completely bombastic. But let's face it, that's what we want, isn't it?
If you think that was amusing, wait till you see what I do next.
Ugh, I hated this movie.
Kill him!
Home Alone 4: Take Back the House was released as a TV movie in the year 2002, and man, oh man, is this movie tragic.
What do you think, Vera? We're just gonna go in there tomorrow and start grabbing kids? Ooh, everybody get in the van!
This is a sequel slash reboot slash waste of time which returns to the world and family of Kevin McAllister. Kind of. The movie follows Kevin, now played by Mike Weinberg, who is looking forward to Christmas when he finds out that his parents, the McAllisters, are getting a divorce because Kevin's dad is running away with his mistress.
Now that you're going to have a new family, maybe it's time for some new traditions.
Kevin runs away from his house to spend Christmas with his dad and his dad's new fiancée in London, where he must protect their house from an old nemesis, Marv, now played by French Stewart.
You!
Hello, Marv.
What? Long time no see!
This movie references things from the first two movies, which makes it a sequel, but we have an entirely different cast and a Kevin who is younger than he was 10 years ago. So the movie takes place in the present, making it, I don't know, I'm lost just thinking about it.
Marv, you're on fire.
Oh, thanks, baby. You're not so bad yourself.
And this movie doesn't really focus on the traps or ingenuity of Kevin McAllister. In fact, Kevin in this movie is mostly just a scared and rude little kid. The smart house that they live inside of is kind of the entire crux of the plan, and it's awful.
Any more questions? Good.
Get ready to have your mind blown.
Okay, Home Alone Holiday Heist is pretty bad, yes, but honestly, it's acceptable compared to the previous installment. Holiday Heist is yet another TV movie, and this time the franchise abandons their ridiculous McAllister attempt and gives us another standalone story. This time, Finn is home with his sister on Christmas Eve while his parents attend a holiday party. Finn just wants to stay up late and play video games, but when a group of robbers plan to break into his house and steal an antique painting, Finn must use his limited resources to ward off the robbers and save Christmas.
A team of art thieves are planning an assault on my new house, and I'm the only one who can defend it.
Oh, cool. See you later.
This movie definitely strays from the usual formula and it doesn't quite deliver on the bold concept. The only performance that feels even a little bit convincing in this movie is from the legendary Malcolm McDowell as the head of the heist.
Sometimes I even amaze myself.
And the traps in this movie are also not very memorable, but I must say I do slightly appreciate the way this film made fun of the meme of the Kevin scream. I do think this movie is fun for the kids, and maybe if it was like a Disney Channel original that wasn't related to the Home Alone franchise, it would work better altogether.
No games, no TV, no music, no phone.
Well, you probably want to leave with a phone.
These are my rules, no phone.
Emergencies.
Thank you, honey.
They don't even know I'm here. They don't even know I'm here.
And now for the most controversial of all of the Home Alone films. The one that Disney announced as an official reboot to the franchise that would debut on their native streaming platform, Disney+. And I don't like it.
That did not sound right.
Listen, this movie was met with mostly negative reviews, and I'm not saying anything new when I say that the movie, despite its comedic talent and kid cuteness, completely falls apart in the very beginning. The story is that Max and his mom are spending Christmas together with their family, and after Max steals a valuable antique doll from a sweet family in dire financial straits, they attempt to get their doll back while Max terrorizes them mercilessly and ruins their entire holiday.
Little limey monster tried to set me on fire.
Why is he doing this to us, Pam? The movie really self-sabotages itself by writing the kid we're supposed to root for as a spoiled brat who steals from strangers.
They're very delicate, so why don't we just leave them right there?
Oh, little boy doesn't want to share his dolly.
Now, of course, there was no way for this kid to know that these people needed the money, and he didn't know that they were coming for it, so it's not technically his fault. But since the audience was aware of the entire situation, the movie made all of us just a little salty.
Correct, Jeff?
Also, there's a cameo from Buzz in the movie, and it's underwhelming, but worth mentioning. I do have to give a shout out to Rob Delaney and Ellie Kemper though. They were an absolute delight to watch, and their scenes and reactions were genuinely priceless.
Go get him, Jeff!
As I've mentioned already, this franchise is iconic, and despite its more disappointing entries, the movie continues to draw audiences in hopes that one day we can get just one more truly great Home Alone film. And I don't think it's any coincidence that the movies that have the best booby traps are the movies with the best reviews. So, in honor of the legendary contraptions that these movies have given us, here's a nice recap of some of the movie's best setups. Of course, these traps and hilarious reactions to them are only possible thanks to the franchise's most iconic characters. So let's take a look at some of the key players in the Home Alone franchise. Kevin McAllister. Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister is one of those casting choices that has yet to be superseded. Between his innocent and youthful moments and his mad genius antics, every kid has a little bit of envy for Kevin.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Harry and Marv. If Kevin is the Batman of the franchise, these two are the Joker. They're the perfect foils for Kevin and add some of the most beloved moments in the franchise to the movies they appear in. Buzz. The classic mean older brother made to be even more mean. We need it.
I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass.
Uncle Frank.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Jerry Bammon nails it with his performance as the rude, insulting uncle that every family can relate to.
You'd better not wreck my trip, you little sourpuss. Your dad's paying good money for it.
Hector the concierge. Tim Curry is one of the most recognizable actors among pop culture junkies like us at JoBlo, but seeing him in this role was just the warm, nostalgic touch that the franchise needed. Unger and Jernigan. These two are the only thing that really makes Home Alone 3 worth the annual rewatch for me. They add a lot of levity to the film, and without them, the movie would certainly run the risk of being boring. And with that, my friends, here is what we at JoBlo consider to be required viewing for the Home Alone franchise. Now, for the ideal viewing experience, I'd recommend keeping your watch list to just the original 2 films. If you have time and you're curious, I'd say throw the third movie on and enjoy that one too. These are the movies that you can skip, and I say this largely because I personally did not enjoy them. However, if you're curious and again have the time, please feel free to watch these movies, come back to this video, and comment below what you thought of them. And now, my friends, there is no word on the future of the franchise.
Whole lot of what ifs, officer.
But one thing is for sure, the movie has left its mark on the zeitgeist and remains one of the most beloved holiday classics of all time. And that, you filthy animals, is what the f*** you need to know about the Home Alone franchise. We'll see you next time.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry